Welcome to the Kirkpatrick Podcast, bridging traditions and trends in learning and performance evaluation. Whether you're a seasoned learning professional or just starting out, join us as we dive into the Kirkpatrick model like never before. Through stories and insights, we are fusing time-honored methods with cutting-edge innovations to help you navigate the ever-evolving world of learning and performance evaluation. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Kirkpatrick Podcast. It is Vanessa and Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you, Vanessa.
Nice to see you. Can you believe we're at our season finale?
I guess I know it's true, but it feels like it just was yesterday when we started these.
I remember probably the first time we talked after I purchased the company, you said, Vanessa, I have this little idea. And I think it'd be really great if I had a podcast. And I said, let me think about that. And here we are, that little idea that you had. I don't know how many episodes later, I think over 30 episodes later, a lot of episodes, I will say. Maybe 30 feels like, no, I'm looking at the number right here. 24, just kidding, everyone. 24 episodes later, still a lot. That little idea, and now look at us, the dynamic Kirkpatrick duo. And
It's good. And I got to tell you, the first time I was nervous because in the past, all the years when I had to be videotaped about something, it was usually a specific script about something, and they'd hold up big poster boards and I'm trying to read it and I would mess it up. And each time I would blow it, I'd get more and more upset. I'm sweating. I had to go change my clothes. But right away it started. It was like Old Homes Week, Old Home Week, where we just got to talk about things and know that we're not scripted. We have some ideas we deal with, and that's it made all the difference from terror to joy for me.
I love our conversations because number one, I'm really excited to hear all of your stories that I've never personally heard before. And I am also very excited to just have you just have a different perspective in learning from, where I came from, the instructional design world and all of that. Your perspective is different. So it's actually influenced a lot of how we develop things and things like that, anchored, and I take little bits. And just hanging out with you is fun. Enjoy it. But did you know that we had 24 episodes, 24 episodes, 9 guest episodes, and I want you to guess how many countries listened to us this season.
6.
48 countries.
Yeah. I didn't even know there were that many in the world. Well, I did, but
I know. Don't ask me to name 48 countries.
Wow. I don't get 48
countries. I know. We've got a lot of crossing off of the Kirkpatrick map to do. Our top 2 countries were the US and the UK. What do you think was the top 5 episodes?
Well, I kind of peeked ahead of time a little bit. And I was a little surprised by some of the ones that they just want to know about the model. That was the first one, and then the fatal flaws. That was like 2 or 3. I was surprised that was that high up.
That I started seeing the numbers on the fatal flaw. So I don't. I more easily can see the YouTube numbers because you just open YouTube and it's, how many views staring right there in your face. And the podcast doesn't let me do that. But anyway, I thought it was wild how many people watched or listened to the Fatal Flaws episode. Why do you think they were so into that? Do you think it's because they're true crime junkies?
Here's what I think. I've been thinking about that a little bit before now. First of all, it's a blast. We're not trying to be subtle about everything. We can be gentle at times and encouraging, but this one we just blasted them. Fatal flaws. That's a very dramatic statement, and we meant every word of it. These are fatal to our industry. At least to the practice of evaluation, unless it's dealt with. So I think one, it was just a kind of a bomb going off. But I think I think the way that we did it, as I think back, we were very serious about that one. Not there wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of joking and encouraging. We were basically saying we feel bad and passionate that so many people are going to lose their jobs and lose
Mhm.
funding because they're making these fatal flaws that are so prevalent
Mhm.
in our industry. I think those are some reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other tips, since that was such a popular episode, any other tips about avoiding any of our fatal evaluation flaws?
Yeah, yeah. I think that one is that and you and I were in Phoenix last week, and we heard some talks about this and stuff. And one is trying to make draw conclusions and make recommendations without checking with their senior leaders. Like say, oh, here's how we're gonna do evaluation, or here's how we're gonna show our results, or here's how we're gonna execute this. And
Mhm.
oftentimes we do it because our colleagues do it, because tradition does it, because our associations have done it forever, and not checking to say what here are some ideas on what we could present to you demonstrating the effectiveness of this initiative. Which one of those would be most meaningful and most credible for you? And I think we just go plowing ahead, and many, many times we miss the mark, and they end up saying, that's not what I wanted to see. Oops,
Mhm.
better luck next
Mhm.
time. That's one
Absolutely.
that comes to my mind.
For me, one that comes to my mind, is actually the last question on the panel, um, in Phoenix last week is, "Where do we see ourselves in 5 years?" And I said, "Right here," having the same exact conversation. I think that is absolutely a fatal flaw. Um, we hoard knowledge and information, right? We go and we learn, we listen to the podcast, but, like, keep listening. Don't hear me say don't listen. We listen to the podcast, we watch the videos, we take the trainings, we do all the things, and then we don't implement, right?
Ouch.
We just listen and we gather and we continue to be a knowledge hoarder. And the funniest part is that we get on our employees and our learners, right? Oh, they don't apply what they've learned. They're just learning all these things, but they're not actually applying it. And yet we go to these opportunities and we don't even try. Right? Even
Right.
little something, right? We'd want to change. Like I keep saying this. This is like, just write this on my tombstone at this point, everybody. We try to eat the elephant. I've said it so many times. We try to eat the elephant instead of just going little by little, right? So if you want to start with evaluation, don't try to like go with the gusto. Just try bit by bit. Just start by asking your senior leaders, what's the business need, or why is this initiative, why is this requirement so important to the business? If you start with that one step, that's your first step to take the next one and the next one and the next one. And then all of a sudden you can see that you're actually applying what you're learning, you're actually doing the strategy. But until you take that one first step, we keep looking at the big picture and the big evaluation plan, when it really just starts with one small step and it's asking why.
That's a good one. I was talking to a guy named Richard Linton who works for the Navy, and
Mhm.
he is in charge of the surveys, and we, for the Navy. So I listened to him. He did a keynote address and learned a lot of things from him. And then
Yeah.
he was kind of asking me, how do we do it? I said, well, one fatal flaw that I see is when it's ultimately time to go before the jury or go before the court or go before the senior leaders, and you get one shot at the end and say, here is what we did, and here's what we found, and here's what we suggest. And instead, a lot of times we give them a 40-page or 50-page report with a lot of level one, level two stuff that they never read. So we recommend typically using a performance, a demonstration. And what I told them, here's a little secret that I hope I'm not giving away, because we teach this in our silver program, is that when it's time to show the evidence and the chain of value, the story of, of evidence, whatever we call it, I always try and give them because they always say, oh, we want metrics, we want numbers and all that, and try and make a good case for it. And then at the end, I've done this a bunch of times. I always pretend like, oh, wait a minute. Wait, I almost forgot. There's some people I want you to meet. And then, of course, they're waiting behind the door, and in they come and they present their story. And it's always a redemption story of here's what we used to do. Here are the results we got. We lost some people. Here's what we're doing now that is focusing on the performance and on the results that are credible to our jury, to our senior leaders. And I'm telling you, it seems to win the case every time where they say, job well done. Of course, I get really upset because then they're standing up, giving a standing ovation for the people that performed it, the Navy or, wherever it is. Where I don't care for me. And I act like my feelings are hurt and all that stuff. But that's one thing, is presenting evidence in a way that is just not compelling. And you're just,
Right.
and all we're doing is thumping our chest and saying, learning is the all important ingredient. And it's just, it's essential, but not sufficient.
Right. It's a piece of the puzzle.
It is.
That's it. Right. It's a lot of things that we need in order to create change. So speaking of senior leaders, one of our most popular episodes was also the series that we did, which was your brainchild, how to gain, like, the best ways to gain buy-in from, like, your peers, your frontline manager, right? And then your senior leaders. So this is actually, I just had this question. I just did a webinar right before this. And the question was, how do I get my stakeholders on board? Why do we think that buy-in is such an ongoing issue still to this day?
That if I had a chalkboard in my office right now, I would be someone might as well scratch it and watch me just see, even thinking of that, because the word buy-in is just so viral out there, and everybody is saying we can't get it, we can't get it, we can't get it. And the first thing I want to say is buy-in for us is not somebody saying we're behind you, or good, we'll sign off on the budget for this, let us know how it goes. That is the opposite of what Kirkpatrick Partners buy-in is. Ours is about recruiting those people, whether it's our peers, whether it's line managers, whether it's senior leaders or program sponsors, to be part of the solution rather than put their feet up. There's that's buy-in column right now. Then put their feet up and wait for the results, because the more they're involved actively in the execution of it, the better it's going to go. So that just, is Kirkpatrick buy-in, where they are champions, where they're clearing barriers, and where you're having regular conversations about what's working and what isn't in order to maximize the results. And by that way, you're also involving them and knowing they're part of the solution. And rather than the traditional way, what keeps you up at night, or, what does success look like for you? Then you scurry off back to the world of learning, do your ADDIE model, and basically wonder why you can't get buy-in. I just get so.
You get hot under the collar. Is there another series that you recommend that we do? Maybe one that also gets you hot under the collar.
Well, I think we could give people some more specific direction on how to involve either the line managers and their graduate, the graduates, and the senior leaders and program sponsors and IT and AI and all those, some specific tips on how to involve them in the execution of the package rather than delivering of the learning. I can see us doing that, and you'd have a lot to say about that.
I have lots to say about creating packages as opposed to just a one and done event.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Well, Jim, I want to thank you for our time on season 1, for growing with me, learning with me, letting me be your Kelly to your Regis. Season 2 is coming, not as far off as we all think. But we are going to shake some things up with season 2. I'm very excited to bring in a Q&A segment for season 2. So we're going to be going to the people and asking them what is it that they have questions on that we can answer live on the Kirkpatrick podcast. So if you have any questions, please email us or drop it into one of excuse me, one of the social media posts, and we will get that on the docket for a Q&A segment. We are going to continue our mini series. I like the idea that you just had, as we will continue to bring some of those series in. We'll also bring you a Kirkpatrick update. So you ensure that you are up to date as to where we are as we continue to look at the model, utilize it in new ways, come out with new programs, products, service offerings, and things like that. And then who knows if there is ever a product in the future that will come out through the podcast. And of course, we will have way more dynamic guests. Our guests from season 1 were amazing. And we're just so excited that our calendars are already filling up for season 2. I love hearing the stories of how people are applying the model and how they are utilizing the, evaluation to show value in their organization. So which of those things, Jim, are the most exciting for you?
The things that comes to me are involving the audience more, involving you out there, because what I also want to hear, and I may ask from time to time, what have you done that have made a difference? Because that's why Vanessa and I and the whole team are here, is to try and have you take a leap of faith, a leap of trust, and take some action, and then share with us what results came from that. And Vanessa, I got to tell you something. I haven't told you this before, but somebody in Salt Lake City saying, "Oh, we watch your podcast all the time." I said, "Really? Which one did you like?" They said, "Well, actually, we just kind of like the way that you guys do it." I say, "Well, what do you mean?" They said, "You know what? When I get done watching a podcast, I know that there are 2 people that care about me."
I love
And I
that.
don't exactly remember what Vanessa said, but I know that the way that, she specifically said, the way you present yourself, you care about the people that are listening, and it's true. And so
Thanks,
I've
Jim.
heard the old adage,
Look at you saving stuff for the podcast. A little surprise for me. I thought I was the one
I
with
got
surprises here.
I got more up my sleeve too, but it's how people feel rather than the
Yeah.
specific tips that we'll give. We'll give them both. We'll continue
Yeah.
to do that.
Absolutely. That's what I'm excited for season 2. Just reminding y'all that we are here to walk alongside of you. We know that evaluation can feel scary, fatal at times, or you fear being fatal. And we're here to support you any way that we can at Kirkpatrick Partners. So thank you. Well, the next time y'all will hear from us, we'll be at the Kirkpatrick Summit. So Jim, thank you so much for all of the support that you've given during season 1. I cannot wait to see you again very soon at the summit. And if you are listening to this before June 5th, there are still virtual tickets available, so you can catch our keynotes, our panels, as well as our impact sessions live, as well as have access to the recordings afterwards. So you'll feel like you're right there with us as we're celebrating 70 years of the Kirkpatrick model. Jim,
Yeah.
thank you so much, friends. We will see you all in season 2. Bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.